Part 3, Alice and Aries. G'day everyone, Rune here, and this is Part 3 and the last part of my mini-series going over the possible backstories of the main characters of the Rune Factory series and the possible side quests that would reveal them. This time we're looking at the main characters of Rune Factory 5, Alice and Aries. Rune Factory 5 is the first game since the spin-off game Rune Factory Tides of Destiny to be on a console that is in any way, shape or form a home console. And as a result, the graphics and story were made to reflect that. Or at least an attempt was made. As for the story itself, it follows the main character of either Alice or Aries waking up in the middle of Whispering Woods with some kind of magic circle behind them. When they wake up, they find that they have no memories, but are very quickly distracted by the cries for help from Henna. After saving Henna from a swarm of hornets, the two begin to make their way to Rigbath, this game's home village/town. Just as they're getting there, they meet two romanceable ladies who witness our main character and Henna heading their way when our resident Earthmate collapses. When they wake up, it's revealed that they have amnesia and need to remain in the village for now, resulting in them joining a group called Seed, which is kind of like the Rangers from Pokemon. Throughout the story, we discover why Alice/Aries lost their memories and uncover a conspiracy set in place by the literal embodiment of destruction and despair to use the leader of Seed in order to free itself from its prison and destroy the world. We don't learn much about Alice/Aries' past during the main story, outside of the fact that the reason they lost their memories was the magic circle we saw, which drains a person's runes, which are basically life energy, and the fact that they'd been to Rigbath before and were involved in an incident involving Priscilla, the Belfer ruins, and Livia. If we follow Priscilla's romance route, we get confirmation that Priscilla had gone adventuring in the Belfer ruins a few years ago and had gotten caught in the blast range of Livia's awakening. Alice/Aries had jumped in to protect her, which is how they got involved and why Priscilla feels like they've met them before. But this still begs a few questions. Why was the MC in Rigbath all those years ago, let alone in Belfer ruins? Why did they come back? And was them having their runes drained just a coincidence? Well, first we need to keep in mind that this game is set after the invasion of the Sechus Empire and the end of the previous game. And if we compare the appearance of Doug, who cameos in this game, to his appearance in Rune Factory 4, I think it's safe to say a few years have passed. The events of Rune Factory 4 are also directly called out as being the lead antagonist's motivations for his actions and why the Fathomless Dread was able to manipulate him. Meaning that it isn't out of the realm of possibility that other events in that game could be affecting this one. Remember the foreshadowing I gave in the previous video? Well, here's where it comes into play. It's clear that the Earthmates have a habit of getting involved in situations involving the balance of the world, and in particular, events involving the dragon gods. Way too much for it to be a coincidence, hence my headcanon, which has been soft confirmed by Guardians of Azumar, that this clan/bloodline/whatever are divinely appointed to deal with things like this. So Alice/Aries was in Rigbath both times for a reason. Before we start getting into the story with Rune Factory 4, I need to pick a character to focus on because calling them by both names is a mouthful. However, unlike Rune Factory 4, Rune Factory 5 has same-sex marriage, so the fact that Priscilla is the obvious canon LI does not indicate which MC is supposed to be canon or if either is. But since I made Frey canon in the last game, I'll make Aries canon in this one. Just like the quest in R4, this quest would have to be saved for after the main story is wrapped up and would be activated like the Town and Heart events of the game. Unlike in Rune Factory 4, however, in Rune Factory 5, there are quest markers signaling when the quest is available and where you need to go. So for this quest, the location would be Livia's office and the symbol on the marker would be one unique to this quest, enticing you to see just what it is. The symbol in particular is one that has definitely been shown, but you probably never noticed. It's the tree-like symbol that's on the casual outfit of our main character that they're only shown wearing at the very start of the game if you don't manually change it after getting a wardrobe. Upon entering the office, Livia and Radia will greet Ares, asking how his day is going and exchanging small talk until a letter suddenly arrives. Taking it, Livia immediately begins to read it before giving an exclamation of concern. Worried, Ares asks what's wrong. Livia explains that the letter is from the Earthmate ambassador. Apparently, one of their agents went missing in the area a while ago. Surprised, Ares asks what she means by agent, to which Livia explains that the Earthmates have a nation within a nation. Due to their nature, they have an instinctual desire to aid those in need and protect the balance of nature. In order to facilitate this, they've created an organization similar to SEED, who are tasked with finding trouble spots and restoring the balance, as well as monitoring events such as the birth or awakening of the new dragon god. The members of this organization are called agents, and one of them had been dispatched to Rigbath to investigate suspicious rune fluctuations, but hasn't reported back in a long time. The Earthmate Nation is requesting immediate help in locating and ensuring their safety. Livia turns to Ares with her most serious expression and gives him the mission of tracking down the missing Earthmate agent and, if hurt, ensuring their safe delivery to the town's clinic. Nodding in understanding, Ares gives an equally serious yes ma'am. Livia tells him that the agent's last known location was Lake Lamia. Nodding again, Ares quickly leaves the building to begin his mission. Back in the office though, Radia walks up to Livia and asks why she's sending him on a wild goose chase. Livia turns to her and blinks in confusion before pouting at her sister, asking what she's talking about. This is a very serious matter. They need to find the agent as fast as possible. Radia gives her a flat look before her eyes suddenly widen in realization. Wait, you... Oh my god. Livia looks confused while Radia simply facepalms. Scene transition to the Lake Lamia area, and Ares will have a helpful internal monologue about what you're meant to do next. In this case, looking for anything strange in the area that could give you clues as to what's happened to the Earthmate agent. Now, I was originally going to have it that the next part of the quest was to scour the area until you found what you needed to find, since this game can get a bit too hand-holdy with the quest markers, but then I realized just how stupid big some of these non-dungeon areas are, and in the case of Lake Lamia, pretty darn empty. So searching this massive space without any way of narrowing down where you're supposed to look isn't going to be fun. So instead, there will be a quest marker, but it won't mark the thing you're looking for, it'll mark the area you need to look. That way there's some direction on where you need to go and what you need to do, but the answer isn't handed to you. What you find is a page that seems to have fallen out of someone's notebook or journal. Ares reads it, and it quickly becomes clear that it was written by the missing agent, with the passage going something like this. Ahem. Summer, Entry 2. I've begun my investigation in the Lake Lamia region. With the distance from the village, it'd be an ideal location for any unsavory individuals to conduct rune experiments. So far, my investigation has not turned up anything substantial. It's like the runes just vanished. But runes don't just vanish into the ether. They had to have been put into something and taken. So that leads to the questions of where they went, why they were sapped out of the earth, and what they were put into. If they decided to place the extra runes into a monster to act as a vessel, I don't even want to think of how that could go bad. Maybe I should have just swallowed my pride and accepted my little sister's offer for help. After that, you find 2 more entries. These entries talk about the mission briefly before switching over to talking about something that they saw or did that day, such as finding a silver wolf pup and returning it to its pack, or helping a group of travelling merchants reach the safe road to Rigbath. At the end of the second entry you find, they will express that they are beginning to doubt that the fluctuations are truly being caused by someone, as they have yet to find any evidence. But again, fluctuations like this don't just happen without reason. The final one that you find will be guarded by a boss monster whom you will need to beat in order to obtain. This entry states that the agent has found evidence that the rune fluctuations are indeed being caused by someone's rune experiments. They discovered this after spotting a suspicious pair of individuals hauling a wagon with strange items in it. After hiding, they were able to overhear the pair complaining about how they need to drag all this equipment to the, quote, new experiment site. One of the members had then stated to his comrade that they shouldn't complain too much as they still had it better than those that were going to be gathering the equipment from Kel Volcanic region, since they don't need to haul anything over lava. The entry ends with a line from the agent stating that they are going to the Kel Volcanic region to continue their investigation. Once you reach the Kel Volcanic region, you will repeat this process another 3 times, with you finding 3 new entries. One entry will talk about the search for the group that they suspect is behind the rune fluctuations, and the fact that there seem to be a lot of dungeons in the area. The second one is where things really get interesting and foreshadowy again, as it goes something like this. Autumn, entry 23. I came across the skeletal remains of some kind of giant monster today. It may have once been a dragon, but I don't know if there's any way to know for sure. Seeing it brought back memories of the last time I was in this part of NORAD. How long has it been since then? My very first mission. Jeez, had that ended in disaster. Hopefully, this one will be better. No, I am not being subtle with this at all. Look, this is the 5th game in this series, and by this point the player, if they've been keeping up with the series since the beginning, will have witnessed the whole spectrum of past reveals. From the emotional plot twist of 1, to the bait and switch of 2, and the overt plot-relevant reveal of 3, and the not regaining memories but receiving closure of 4. And even if the player hasn't witnessed all of them, the tone of this game, with the exception of certain characters, is a lot more lighthearted and comedic even during the main plot. And when you look at things in context, it makes sense. The original games were developed by Neverland Co., a gaming company that no longer exists because they filed for bankruptcy soon after Rune Factory 4 was released. So it makes sense that that game would have been made as a last hurrah for the series and the company itself, hence why they put so much emotion into it. But with the series now being picked up by the new company Hakama Inc., with only a few of the staff familiar with the old games being hired into the company, it makes sense that they'd want to go back to the lighthearted and comedic tone of the older games, especially for their first foray into the series. So yeah, this quest is not subtle in the slightest. But what fits the tone better? A quest where the player and one character in particular, Radia, sees the twist coming from a mile away, giving us some hilarious dramatic irony. Or a quest where the story is hidden right up until the end, making it more of a dramatic mystery. Anyways, the last entry that Ares finds is again guarded by a boss monster. After defeating the boss monster, you get the final Kel Volcanic region entry, which talks about how the writer was able to find the group, but not before they'd already secured all the evidence and were in the process of moving it. They're disastrously outnumbered and there's no way that they can get to the evidence now. However, they heard about how there's another group that they're supposed to be meeting up with in the forest woods as they clear the base in the Whispering Woods. With the suspicious group being so laid down with their baggage, it would probably take them 2 days to get to the Whispering Woods. They can make it in half that time. Taking the clue, Ares heads right for the Whispering Woods. There you find one entry talking about the investigation, like normal, but the second you find is rather concerning. Winter, entry 32. It was a trap. They knew that they were being watched and that whoever was watching was doing so with intent. They're on my tail. I can't stop for long or they'll find me. I need to hide this journal for the agent that comes after me. I think I saw a good place to hide it near the lake. If I don't make it out, at least my mission won't end with me. Heading toward the Whispering Woods Lake, Ares will come across something that he thought Seed had gotten rid of. A rune circle. Just as he's about to approach it, a boss monster emerges from it, activating a battle. Once the battle is over, the circle will vanish and Ares will suddenly realize that this is the place where he'd woken up without his memories. Looking around, he finds the journal complete with a letter. To whom it may concern. If you are reading this, then that means that I have failed in my mission, the details of which are all in this journal. If you are a person that cares about the freedoms of the people of NORAD, then I implore you to take this to the Earthmate Embassy. Sincerely, Agent Ares. P.S. Tell my little sister she was right. Reading that name, Ares realizes that he was the missing agent. At that exclamation of realization, Radia will speak up behind him with a brilliant deduction, Holmes. Turning around, Ares will see both Radia and Livia behind him. Exasperated, Radia asks how it took him until now to realize the most obvious answer to the solution, complaining about how she and Livia have been chasing him all over the place to tell him. Livia laughs as she says that it seems Radia is the real detective this time. Radia turns to her annoyed, saying that Ares has the excuse of amnesia, but Livia should have known from the start. With the reveal done, they return to HQ in order to send the message to the embassy about the situation and that Ares is planning on staying in Rigbath for the foreseeable future. Before the letter is sent off, Ares asks to send one himself to his sister. The event ends with Ares' letter to his sister. To my little sister Alice. Although I don't know what exactly he was referencing to, my past self wanted someone to tell you that you were right. So, you were right. I'm sorry for worrying you all this time, but I want you to know that I'm very happy here. I've made so many wonderful friends. Rigbath is truly my home. I hope you can visit sometime. Your brother, Ares. And that, everyone, is the end of this mini-series. I hope you all enjoyed watching and listening to it as much as I enjoyed writing it. I'm Rune. See you in the next story.